Now, first thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and install. I'm sorry. We're going to click New on VirtualBox. You won't have these two here, so go ahead and ignore those. We're going to click New. And let's name it. First, we're going to make a domain controller, of course. To control the domain, we're going to name it domain controller. Oops. Oh my god. Domain controller 1. Don't laugh at me. For some reason, when you do that, it shows as Linux here, but go ahead and change that to Microsoft Windows. And go ahead and change the server 2012. Even if you're using 2016, go ahead and click 2012. It's the same thing. Or you could click Windows 10, but I feel like 2012 is closer to 16, so yeah, it doesn't really matter. You could also click Other. It doesn't really make a difference. So click Next or Continue. 2 gig of RAM is minimum. I'm just going to take that. My other PC, my Windows one, has a huge RAM spool, like I think 20 gigs of RAM. So over there I couldn't afford to give more, but this laptop only has 8. So I'm just going to keep them at 2. And just so you know, you can actually watch, in case you're like me, you can do this in Windows Task Manager, or you can do this, oops, wrong button. You can do this in Activity Monitor. You'll see when this virtual machine opens up, the little down there says memory pressure, how much memory is being used. That will visibly increase, and so will hard drive, because it'll be using your hard drive now. Back to what matters, Sajjad. Back to what matters. Here we have create a virtual hard disk now. You will want to do this because of course, you need somewhere to store your server, your hard drive. It's like making a little virtual hard drive. You could use an existing one if you have one, but I'm assuming we're starting fresh here, and I want you to start fresh so we can go through it one by one. Actually go in depth. So we create. And we're just going to keep it VDI. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't even know what the other half of these are. Like, this one's a parallel. If you have parallels like me, virtual hard disk, virtual machine disk, and honestly don't even know what these last two are. I've never encountered them in my life. Just be easy. Keep it basic, keep a Starbucks with this VDI over here. And click Continue. And now this is your choice right here. Dynamically allocated or fixed. And there's two different things. Say, dynamically allocated is slower because it's continuously writing more space, but that means it won't take up more space immediately. For example, on my PC, I use an SSD, and my SSD has minimal space. So I know the SSD is fast enough to write quick, so I just keep it dynamic. That way I'm not using all 25 gigs at the same time. Say I have 25 gigs and I only need 10 of it, why should I write all 25? You know what I mean? You could use the space somewhere else. Or you could do fixed, which writes it all at once. It will take longer to initially write it, but it'll be a lot faster, but it'll also take more space. So, it says up here too. It says up here, gives you a decent explanation, but I personally prefer dynamic since this laptop has a Fusion drive, so it can handle it, no problem. So click Continue, and domain controller 1, that works wherever you want to install it. I like to keep it in the default folder just to keep it simple. 25 gig minimum. I'm just going to keep it 25 since I probably will not be needing more than that. Click Create, and you can see it got created. And there is some other fancy stuff we can go into, but for right now, all we're going to do is look at Preferences and click Network. And you'll see there's no NAN networks. If there is, just leave it. You don't really need it. But host-only networks, make sure you have one. I already have one, vbox.net. If you don't, you would click this, and it would just do it for you. And here's Settings. And you see we have a DHCP and an adapter for it. And you want to just, you don't need this right now, but this is where you would find your IP for VirtualBox if you ever need it. And so, I'm going to go ahead and click Start to start up this machine right here that we just made together, to make it all together. We made our first machine together, guys. We did something special. Alright, anyway, domain controller 1, I'm going to click start. And this will ask you for your server ISO file. And as you can notice, there's a red mark because last time I installed these two servers over here using this file over in this corner. But as you know, I have changed the name, so I have to go click it and find it again. So desktop, scroll down, and there it is, server 2012. Click start. And it'll actually remember where that ISO was in case you install again. So you won't have to find it every time, which is kind of neat. And as you can see, Windows is starting. Installation is starting. Now, we can see the main screen has loaded up, the installation screen, and this is just the basic, English, US, keyboard, and time. So I'm just going to go ahead and click next. Since my main language is English, I'm in America, so next. And here we have repair your computer. We're not going to do that right now because we're installing. There is no computer right now to repair, so yeah, click install. It'll take a few seconds. If it takes a while, that's okay. Every computer is different. Some are really fast, some are slow. So, give it a minute. Mine took about 30 seconds. So here we have our different types of Windows Server. We have Standard, Data Center, we have GUI, we have Core. But you'll notice they're all 64-bit. And so I'm going to go with a Data Center, which is probably what you'll be working with in a real-life situation. The data center is where more computers are connected. And now that I notice down here in Activity Monitor, you'll see that my memory pressure has gone up. You see it went up 2 gigs because I started this machine. And so it will take RAM, a lot of RAM, 2 gigs. That's how much you allot it, that's how much it'll take. So GUI, now we have Server Core and GUI in the data center. Server Core is kind of like a terminal. I'll bring up a picture to show you guys. Like I said, I'm going to be really in-depth. Server 2012 Server Core is like this. It's like a terminal type, you type stuff. Of course, it's easy on RAM, but in Server Core you can get some GUI stuff like the console, like the DNS managers, and etc. But the whole system will not be GUI. But for this example of a domain controller, I'm going to do GUI. It will take more RAM, but it'll make things a little simpler. So click next. Now if you have a valuation of 2012, it will not ask you for a code. As you can see, it did not ask me for a code. But if you have 2016, it will ask you for a code. And don't panic. You don't have to pay anything. In the place where you downloaded it, if you actually read the material where you downloaded, you'll see that there is a button, a line that says the code, and you just copy paste it. Well, you can't copy paste just yet. You can later once you install the guest editions, but we'll do that later. You can't do it right now. You can't do it until you've actually installed it. But you go ahead and just copy it over and click next. Copy as in not copy paste. Copy as in read it off the website and type it in manually. And so here there's nothing to upgrade, so there's no computer installed, so we're going to custom. Here's our hard drive. If you have more than one virtual disk or you're working on a real computer, you may have more than one. But in a VirtualBox, we just put one disk on there earlier, the 25 gig. So we're going to use this. We're going to click New, Apply. Well, you don't have to click New and just click OK. You don't have to. You can just click Next, but I just like doing that earlier ahead of time. So we're going to go ahead and click Next. And this will begin installing. As you can see, the Windows files didn't even take 2 seconds to do. Just boom, just done. And since I'm going to be showing you guys how to connect 2 computers, what I like to do is once this part is started, I like to start the next one. Now, not everyone can do it because, you need plenty of RAM, but I'm going to make an account called User1. This will be the second account. That'll be controlled by the domain controller. And with you guys, I'm actually going to be installing a total of 4 accounts. 2 on the Mac, 2 on my other computer. I'm going to show you how the 2 different computers connect. And I think that's a good show of your knowledge on server. If you can make those 4 servers on 2 different computers connect, then you've got the basics down. At least for exam 70 410, which is basic installation and configuration of Server 2012, then you're good. So I'm going to do the whole process again, but for a second computer. So I'm just going to do the whole thing again. Click Start. And I do recommend having a computer at least powerful enough to run 2 machines, meaning you have at least an extra 4 gig of RAM. Not a total 4 gig, an extra 4 gig. Meaning, like, say you have 8 gigs like mine. 8 is not the most. I would recommend having more in case you need more. And, whoops. And my fans have kicked on. So my computer is having a bit of a struggle. And, well, that's kind of normal, you expect that. You're running 3 computers in one, pretty much. But yeah, so you want to have a computer powerful enough to have your system running and 2 virtual machines. Or you could 2 separate machines. You can see my RAM is maxing out here. What can I close? I can probably close this Chrome. See, I'm a normal person too. I run out of RAM too. I'm not like those Linus Tech Tip guys with 200 gigs of RAM on their computer. So, so we've managed to drop the load a little bit. So you see this here is almost done. Oops, and it's clicking. Say go ahead and restart now. Get the thing. We'll do the same thing here. Data center with the GUI core. With the GUI, and you're gonna ignore here on the left side. You're gonna ignore the boot from CD. I'm going to go ahead and do the whole process again. Apply, okay. Next. And here, so we're going to ignore this one for now. I'm just going to put this over here. I'm going to bring this one up front, because this is the one I'm teaching you guys how. And this one, the second one, you don't have to do right away. I'm just starting it early so that you guys can watch how I'm going to do it, Because I'm going to be connecting them, not in this video. In this video, we're just installing them. But I'm going to show you guys pretty soon. In video 2, probably. This is just video 1, basic installation. Alright, now here, it's asking for a password, and you're going to need to make a super secret, unhackable, un-Illuminati confirmable password. And so I'm just going to go ahead and make something simple. And as a security measure, Windows log you out, of course, and makes you log back in. And here, you can't actually do Control-Alt-Delete Windows computer or on a Mac or whatever. So you have to come up here and input the keyboard and click Insert Control-Alt-Delete. And you click that, and then, again, log in. Oops. And it'll log in. It'll take probably a few seconds. And here we have it, guys. This is Server 2012. I'll go ahead and click Next for the network. And here we are. Now, before I touch anything, this is part 1 complete. If you got this far, you're good.